My name is Iris, and I will be doing a performance on the Gutenberg press. Welcome, class. Everybody, please open your textbooks to page 440. Today, we will be beginning a new unit on the printing press. Take a look at your textbooks. This type wouldn't be possible without the printing press. All right, back to reading. So who wants to read this first paragraph on page 440 to the class? Yes, Olivia, go ahead. In the early 1400s, books were primarily owned by the wealthy and priests, but in 1440, Johannes Gutenberg changed that with the invention of the first visible type printing press. This revolution enabled many educators and worshippers to become literate, and spurred social, religious, and economic reforms, and their reactions. Gutenberg's printing press printed much faster than scribes, who handwrote each page, and the printing press gave people access to a vast amount of knowledge due to the availability of books. This permitted common citizens to access knowledge previously reserved for the elite. The printing press even helped history cross the boundary of the Middle Ages into the Renaissance. Thank you, Olivia. Now let's watch a short video that goes into the upbringing of the printing press. Hello, and thank you for watching History Then and Now. Let's dive deep into the printing press revolution. In the early 1400s, books had to be written by hand. This was hard because scribes had to be paid, resulting in expensive books. Only the wealthy could buy something so pricey. 4 pages done in one day felt to be a record. And I suppose I did get paid decent for being a scribe, but perhaps I should ask for a raise, considering I've got 4 pages done today. The average scribe accomplished only 2 to 4 pages in one workday, soon to be 3,000 with the printing press. In fact, Italian poet Francesco Petrarch complained about the copyists not writing what they were told. For example, he wrote a letter to his friend around 1355 saying, "Those copyists, they don't write what they are told, but what they think." But not just Petrarch had reactions to this. The rich citizens also had reactions. Have you heard about this new thing with knowledge and money? They're calling it humanism. Ha! As if you don't need money to like books. So children, there's a little video that goes into the upbringing of the printing press. Citizens have the right to knowledge regardless of their level of wealth. The humanist movement is established, setting the printing press up for huge success. Now, for the highlight of our evening, let's welcome Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press himself. Yes, hello. You see, my printing press was a very important part of society. By 1440, it had taken me 10 years from sketches to nails and a hammer. By 1454, I was giving out printed Bibles to the Protestants for their religion. In fact, to my good friend Marty. Come on in, Marty. My name is Martin Luther, and I am the founding father of the Protestant religion. This is my Gutenberg Bible, and thanks to the printing press, it was able to be printed in German so that more people could read it, and it was printed in vaster quantities, faster. You see, books were costly not only due to the high cost, but the high demand on books for the rising Protestant religion. With the advent of my 95 Theses, the printing press became central to the Protestant cause and ideology. Printing is the ultimate gift of God, and by far the greatest one. And by means of it, influencing religion across the whole world to the ends of the earth. Most importantly, the printing press allowed me to print my 95 Theses faster and in German once again, so that more people could read it. The printing press also expanded knowledge and religious growth, as well as economic class changes. By 1454, the rising Protestants had been thriving. Not only that, but the printing press expanded knowledge and religious growth, as well as economic class changes. In fact, for evidence, Wendell Phillips states, "What gunpowder has done for the war, printing has done for the mind." showing the revolutionary change. Now, can someone please read that next page of the textbook? Yes, Olivia. Anyone besides Olivia? Okay, Olivia, go ahead. Additionally, the printing press altered social and economic classes by granting the middle class greater financial autonomy. With printing, a business education literature emerged that lowered the cost of knowledge for merchants. Thank you, Olivia. Now, all you guys can see that the printing press broadly affects our lives today, like how it not only allows us to have better education, but to print our ideas in an organized and timely fashion. It has also led to modern-day legacies such as the copy machine and computer printer. I mean, imagine where we would be without these things. Does anyone have any questions? Olivia? Why is the printing press so important if it was already invented by a Chinese inventor decades before? Olivia, what a great question. I'm so glad you all asked. So, while the Chinese inventor Beijing's version was very important, Johannes Gutenberg's was said to have metal technology that fine-tuned the invention, and like I said, propelled the modern era. It also had reusable metal type and fast printing. But since we live in the Western Hemisphere, most of the history study is Eurocentric, meaning an invention in Asia, in this case, would get less attention than an invention in Europe. Hopefully that answers your question. But you're saying that Johannes Gutenberg's movable type printing press reformed the spread of knowledge, and I can see that on page 450, Martin Luther recognized the value of the press and exploited it brilliantly in his challenge to the authority of the Catholic Church. That was definitely a social reform, but I was wondering how it reformed economically. Well, hold on. It says on the same page of the textbook, how funny is that between 1450 and 1500, the price of books fell by 65%, transforming the way ideas were decimated and the conditions of intellectual work. So I guess I don't have a question. That's all right, Olivia. But did you know that, in fact, there are people that thought the printing press wasn't that great? Come on in. I am Pope Leo X, and I must say, the printing press was not so great. And Martin Luther's 95 Theses was a harm to the Catholics. Once I recognized the danger of Luther's teachings, I strenuously and patiently urged his repentance. And I know there are others that will agree with me when I say the printing press isn't that great. Yes, people like me. I used to write the books for popes like you, in fact, Pope Leo, but with the printing press I was no longer needed. It's a bit of a sensitive subject, actually. Well, gentlemen, it means so much to everyone that you're coming in, even though it's a bit hard, especially to the children. But thank you anyway. So, children, I'm going to hand out an exit ticket that asks you 3 main questions. How did the printing press cause revolution, reaction, and reform in history? Tell your parents what you learned tonight and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.